All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Give me a touchdown on the top prop bets today in mostly MLB and NBA for Underdog and PrizePicks. Let's go in and get into it. Now, recap-wise, it was another good day yesterday, 5 for 6. You guys hopefully already know that, but I do want to call out the 9 to 5 Golf channel. If you guys are looking for some Masters content here, go ahead and check out this video. Greatly appreciate if you guys give that video a like and a subscribe to that channel. Trying to get to 800 subscribers by the end of this week. So, would be greatly appreciated if you guys do that. And then I also want to call out that I did come out with an updated DraftKings Pick 6 video. Okay. And I kind of highlight my thoughts on it. Again, check out that video. This is on this channel. The other one's going to be on the 9 to 5 Golf YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and start out with some MLB props that we are getting today, guys. And I want to call it one specifically here for Dean Kramer, guys. Dean Kramer, one is going to be a good prop bet for you guys on something like DraftKings Pick 6. Again, if you guys are wondering why, check that out. I fully expect this prop bet to get bumped pretty soon. And by now you guys know that I don't really like to call it those type of prop bets because, well, again, it's most likely going to get bumped by the time most of you guys get here. But I do want to call this out as well. His fantasy score right now is currently a decent edge as well, even though the percent of it is not as much, just compared to something like Underdog where it's at 29.5. So my kind of way of looking at this is if he does indeed get 5.5 strikeouts and let's say 15, 16 or so outs, then yes, he should be able to use over fantasy score. So again, we want to go with the strikeouts props first, but if you guys wanted to still get action on that, another way to go about doing that would be his over fantasy score. And maybe just PrizePicks keeps this way because people are going to look at the last 5 average and maybe not want to bet the over, but no, that's going to be the correct bet today. It's a pretty big edge that we were getting, again, of like a 56% edge. That's literally the second best MLB prop bet that we have on the day today. And I do just want to touch on some other pitching fantasy score prop bets. I plan hopefully today, guys, to finally get out kind of a breakdown video of the MLB tools for both PrizePicks and Underdog today. I did the DraftKings Pick 6 kind of updated video yesterday. Hopefully I'll get this one done today. But I want to call something out. Like for me, I would rather take a pitching fantasy score prop bet that has a over fantasy score of about a 54% likelihood than I would like a hitting fantasy score that's under like 60%, if that makes sense. Because to me, the pitching fantasy score prop bets are going to be much easier to predict on the night in and night out basis. And so I did think that that's like worth calling out. Like I think I view this one, Christopher Sanchez over 29.5 fantasy score as a better prop bet than maybe, let's see, I think it was Salvador Perez over hitter fantasy score of 6.5. I view that one as a slightly better prop bet, even though the data is not exactly telling us that. This one would be about the 8th best, but still a very good prop bet that we have available today. And so from there, yes, we are seeing Salvador Perez for over his fantasy score, hitter fantasy score of 6.5 to be a good prop bet. Anthony as well over his fantasy score, and we can see compared to Underdog probably should be at 7.2, so a decent small little edge there. Same thing with like Gunnar Henderson here, small little edge there, but that's something that I do think adds up in the long term. So another one here for Ozzy for under his fantasy score. Again, slight little edges compared to Underdog there. So we have a lot of pretty solid prop bets today for MLB. I wish we were getting slightly more like strikeout props and pitching fantasy score prop bets, but enough to feel comfortable about today's slate, I would say, props betting wise. And then we go ahead and jump on into the Underdog side of things. Slightly different calculations here for Underdog. That's why we're going to see slightly different props that are popping up here. So for Underdog, Lindor for over fantasy scores popping up, De La Cruz for under fantasy scores popping up, Mackenzie Gore for over his pitching fantasy score prop bet is popping up there. We got another one here for Gill for over pitcher fantasy score. That's a good one. So it does seem like today on Underdog, guys, we are actually getting much better prop bets for Underdog pitching fantasy score today. So I feel pretty good about that as well. So I think that's what we're going to be targeting mostly on Underdog today, is going to be pitching fantasy score prop bets. So I think I'm going to be able to give you guys a Underdog prop bet today. Again, it's going to mostly just be those pitching fantasy score prop bets, because especially compared to PrizePicks, we are gaining some decent edges on some of those prop bets. So with that, let's go ahead and jump now into the NBA. So NBA today, as it sits right now, not too many huge edges. Kevin Durant for over his points and assists at 28. That's fine. I know Underdog opened this line today at 27.5. They have since bumped that up. An interesting one is going to be Man for over his points at 7.5. The average sportsbook line is favoring the under at 8.5, but again, the line should probably just be at 8 then, so that's a decent edge that we're getting there. Mike Conley for under rebounds and assists, currently a good EV bet that we are getting. you know, we're getting a lot of pretty solid EV bets for NBA today. I always say this, like, I want to show you guys these prop bets because I can't control. I have no idea when or if any of these prop bets are going to get bumped, but I want to give these out to you guys in case they are still available so that you guys can put your best foot forward. And so I think that's why these are kind of worth calling out to you guys. Underdog is going to be more the exact same thing. So real quickly, let's jump into golf and let's jump into the discrepancies, and I'll give you guys a bet of the day today. So today for some PGA props, really the only two that I somewhat like are Aubert for under his birdies or better of 4.5 and Rory for under 4.5 birdies or better. I don't feel the need to really go too crazy today. I mean, we're getting, let's say, 4 good enough bets. I don't mind Christian Bezuidenhout for over 3.5 birdies or better. I don't mind Brian Harman for over his birdies or better as well. To me, given the board that we have for MLB today, and given the lines not being too crazy, not being too many big discrepancies, I don't feel the need to put out that many bets for PGA today. It just doesn't seem that worthwhile on really any site. Pick 6, PrizePicks, Underdog. I wish Sleeper had golf, but they don't. I will say I do like this slightly better. Underdog today for the over fantasy scores and maybe birdies or better. So like Matt Fitzpatrick for over 3.5 birdies or better. One of my favorite underdog bets. Again, I'm probably mostly going to be using those pitching fantasy score prop bets today for underdog, but this is one I might roll with just because we are seeing a prop line difference. Slight 1.5, but slightly decent edge there. He's someone I expect to get going today. You could also bet his over fantasy score. It's a slightly better board today on Underdog, but again, don't really feel the need to go crazy with that. Let's check out the discrepancies tab. So discrepancies wise, I will say this is probably a big enough edge to the point where you can bet this one both ways. So bet the over saves on PrizePicks here of 2.5, and then bet the under on 3.5 for Underdog. That's a decent enough edge there. To the point where I'm fine with it. And so yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into the bet of the day. We'll start with PrizePicks and then get into Underdog. So getting to the PrizePicks bet of the day, it's just going to be all those ones that I already called out as good prop bets. Now I will say again, Dean Kramer, you could potentially run out his over fantasy score as well. That's off by 2 compared to Underdog. It should probably be in the middle just as an FYI, but I want to call this out. Like his over pitching strikeouts is good, but we also are using 2 other Baltimore players. And so there is somewhat of a correlation there where if Dean Kramer gets his over pitching fantasy score, again, because I'm kind of assuming the pitching strikeouts props will get bumped. We'll see. It's been there a decent amount of time, so maybe it doesn't. And looking at his last 5 average, people might not want to bet that. But I do like the fact that there's some correlation. Like if these 2 players do get their over hitting fantasy score, that should increase the likelihood of Dean Kramer getting his over pitching fantasy score. Now, yesterday we had the one bet that missed was a stack from, I think it was the Texas Rangers, and they scored a decent amount of runs, just kind of missed, kind of a little bit almost unlucky, if you will, statistically speaking, for that bet not to go 6 for 6. But I do kind of like the idea of stacking hitters together because it should correlate decently. If one player gets an RBI, the other one's going to get a run. Stuff like that does tend to help. And then this is probably my favorite bet, Christopher Sanchez for over pitching fantasy score. Now, before we get into the Underdog bet of the day, just want to call it the Underdog 9 to 5 promo code. So use that, you get 100% match of a deposit up to $100. That is a way that people have been able to help out the channel grow. And I really do appreciate you guys using that promo code when you guys sign up for the first time. But let's go ahead and get into that bet of the day now. So yes, the Underdog bet of the day is just going to be a simple one here. 3 pitching fantasy score prop bets because I like the edges that we're getting there compared to the PrizePicks lines. These are all 3 a little bit too low. And then just compared to the average sportsbook line as well, with how they're projected to play, these are all very good prop bets. Now, I do think it's worth calling out some of the better prop bets that we have is going to be Abbott for over on DraftKings Pick 6. That is, sorry, it's going to be Abbott for over 5.5 strikeouts. That's a very good EV bet that we were getting. But I also want to call out like Gore. He's kind of favored to get under 6.5 strikeouts, but 6.5 strikeouts is still a lot. I'm sure if we looked at some of his other projections, he's not going to be likely to get a lot of earned runs. Probably projecting it close to a quality start or a win as well. But that's going to do it for today's video. Again, check out the Masters content. That's appreciated. If you guys want access to the DraftKings Pick 6 coverage, as well as all the other tools that you saw in this video, head on over to 95sports.com. Available at a great value of just $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.